Everything that you work for throughout the course of a season comes down to this. It's the final chance to make your way into the NASMARB playoffs. We welcome you to the MSWP 500 right here at Mayhem Super Speedway, the track where anything can happen. First, we're going to start with a race-off between Earl in the 33 and Oak in the 48. This is for the pole position. If you missed our qualifying episode, they tied for the pole, and they're going to race off against each other. Oak is going to flip, and Earl is going to take the pole. We'll have another look at it. Went in side by side, and yep, it actually didn't look like contact with Earl, but rather contact with the track that did Oak in, and so via the race-off, Earl will be our number 1 seed. And now we're going to take you to some scenarios of who can clinch as we are here in the final race with a new winner. There is the clinching scenarios. Oak needs to finish 8th, Bloodstorm 6th, Mozilla 6th, Quillo 3rd. If they do that and there is a new winner, then it doesn't matter what happens otherwise. So for Oak, you're in the best spot. If somebody new wins, then Oak has to finish 8th, and they're in automatically. Doesn't matter what else happens. With a repeat winner, Oak needs to finish 10th, and they're in. Bloodstorm 7th, Mozilla 6th, Quillo 4th, and Earl would need to finish 2nd if there's a repeat winner to guarantee that they're in. Otherwise, obviously, there are different scenarios. There's too many to really go into. But if you have those finishing positions, doesn't matter what else happens, that specific driver is going to be in the playoffs. As you have a look at the groupings, we knew which ones were going to be in the groups with the exception of the 1 and 2 seeds. It's Earl, the 1 seed, who will take on Nugget and Lemon Drizel. And then Oak, who will settle into the 2, will have Steve and Jeff Marbin. We'll begin with Group 1, and the 1 seed Earl taking on Nugget and Lemon Drizel, who just barely made his way in. And it's going to be an easy win for Earl, and I think, yeah, there's a caution as Nugget comes across and comes out of the car here. Let's see what happened. Just looked like the car just honestly came apart there, as looked like a pretty easy win for Earl. But the body of the car and the frame are in 2 different places. They're going to have to go again. Earl won that heat, but it didn't matter because of the caution. Earl's going to go again. Earl's going to win the heat again. It was kind of close. Nugget got a little closer there at the end, but it will be an advancement for Earl, who certainly would have been crying foul if he had not advanced after winning that first one and having the caution erase that from happening. Not to be the case, though. The 33 is through, and now Nugget and Lemon Drizel will face off against each other with an opportunity to move on through this group stage. Lemon Drizel struggled for the most part, that they are going to pull off what I think might be an upset here from what we've seen so far this week. Lemon Drizel advances, Nugget is eliminated and has now been eliminated from playoff contention. Really needed a win, did Nugget, but they are officially done being eliminated here in this group stage. Nugget will not make the playoffs. We'll move into Group 2 with Oak, Steve, and Jeff Marbin. This is Oak in the lead. Look at Jeff Marbin go. Oak will advance, and Steve ends up unable to finish the course. Sets up something quite interesting there. Wonder if Jeff Marbin can repeat that success one-on-one with Steve. I mean, Jeff Marbin had some speed there that hasn't really been there for the majority of the season. Jeff Marbin is in a 100% must-win situation. Let's see what happens. One-on-one, Steve gets the advantage. Here's Marbin, and they will not come across the line. We'll do it again. What a blocking job by Steve. Otherwise, Jeff Marbin would have gone right on by and through the group stage. Try it again. Jeff Marbin has the advantage. Now it's Steve who takes the lead. Steve's going to get the win. Steve advances in the 89, and that will eliminate Jeff Marbin from playoff contention here. And it will officially end the Jeff Marbin DoMarb 24 era, as we announced earlier that he will not be returning to that team, will not have a ride next season. So he is done, as we'll move on to the next group. Disappointing end to a disappointing season for Jeff Marbin, as this group led by Murakami, who is really trying to come on strong at the end of the year. Streamer cannot finish that, as Murakami is going to advance. Streamer really, I don't know if it's just the fact that they can play around with some things because they're in and they know where they're seated. They're the number 1 seed no matter what, but they've really struggled recently. And we're actually having a report. Wow, it is a broken axle, broken back axle for the 26. They're going to have to go again without that back axle, and it's not going to work. You can see the turn couldn't get across the line. When something happens, this is really, I think, the first time we've seen it, but when there's damage that happens in the middle of a race, it can't be fixed in the middle of a race. And so you can see the replay. There was just no chance for the 26 there, and as you watch him come across, the back just completely spins. A broken back axis is going to cost Streamer any shot. They're eliminated here. Obviously, they're the 1 seed, and so not much to race for there. Luckily for Streamer that they were already locked in as that seed. As we've got a flipped car, Mozilla's going to make a move. Going to go around and going to advance. Nice move by Mozilla to go around the flipped machine of the 8 of Prime. It looked like he just flipped himself, and you can see right there, just went right around it, something that Quillo couldn't, or at least didn't do fast enough. And so Quillo and Prime, the 8 and 9, will face each other one-on-one now. Let's have another look. Love this cam, of course, as always. Wow, it looked like some big air there from the 66. Just gets out of the way. Slides right on by and through for an advancement here from the group stage. One-on-one, the 8 and the 9. They make contact early. Prime's in the lead. Prime is going to get stuck, as is the 9 of Quillo. They'll go again. And I think, I'm not sure, we'll have to look and see what happened to Prime, but I think Quillo got his wheels up. Yeah, wheels went up on the side of the course for Quillo, which slowed down all the speed. Not sure what happened to the 8, but Prime, yeah, there's another look at it. The 2 right side wheels are up on the course. Prime is going to get it done, and Quillo is flipped and upside down. Huge, huge hit to the confidence and the chances for Quillo. And Quillo's going to need some help in order to be able to clinch a playoff spot after what seemed to be a very promising start to the season. Now in a race sponsored by his sponsor, Quillo is in some trouble. Can't get out of the group stage of the MSWP 500. So we'll move into the 5th group. This is Woodpecker, Confetti, and Neptune. Neptune didn't have a ton of speeds during qualifying. I don't know what you can expect here. I believe Confetti ended up on the bottom of the course. That's exactly what happened. Woodpecker's going to get the win pretty easily. That was a kind of slow heat there. I'll have another look at it, see where Confetti went wrong and ended up on the bottom. And, yeah, well, it just kind of happened in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And so an opportunity for Neptune and Confetti to go one-on-one. Woodpecker's already through. They make contact early. And now Confetti going to make the move, flipping upside down as Neptune didn't have the speed anyway. And so the 17 of Confetti is through, making their way into the next round, part of the final 12. And that will eliminate Neptune officially from playoff contention. A few of these drivers that you wouldn't think would be eliminated earlier than others, like Confetti, who is still obviously in it. Has a chance to make the playoffs after a rough start to the season. Obviously, same can be said for Oak, who has just been incredible since a horrific start to the year. As we find our final group, Sal, Bloodstorm, and Spitzer. This is a pretty strong group here. And 2 of them are going to fall. Sal's going to be the only car to finish the course. And we'll get an automatic win there. What a strange run that was. Let's have it one more time. You have a look on your screen. Watch the 25 and the 86. And wow, that was odd. Looked almost like the exact same thing happened, beg your pardon, with both of the cars there. They both kind of just flew right off the left side of the course. Strange, as they'll now take on each other. And this is a must-win for Spitzer in the 25, and it's going to be a win. Oh, no! Cannot get it done! As the 86 flips, gives away the win, and Spitzer can't get it done. Both cars unable to finish it off. And you see right there, just overdid it, trying to get around the 86, overcompensated, needing to move to the left. We'll have another look here, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. As you see right there, you got to make a move around the car, and they just went too much. Almost went entirely off the course. a wipeout from the 25. They'll have to go again. And that is going to be a haunting loss if Spitzer loses, and he will. Bloodstorm comes across upside down as the 25. Bloodstorm advances, and that is going to knock out Spitzer from playoff contention. A surprising end of the year for the 25 machine, who started so strong, and that is going to just be an absolute killer when you go back and watch what you had there. As you see our groupings here, interesting thing to note that Murakami and Bloodstorm here, the 3 and 7 seeds, are going to face off for the second straight time. Those teammates will face off. It's the third time this year that they faced off one-on-one. As we go to Mozilla and Earl. Mozilla is going to clinch if they advance here. They will clinch a spot in the playoffs, and they just get across the line to take a 1-0 lead. Remember, in the second round, you need 2. Oh, wow. Earl flipped and nearly went off the course. And Mozilla just got across. I'm not even sure he got a full car length across the line. Good enough, though. And now Earl again flips. Mozilla going to advance and clinch a playoff spot right there. And the 66 gets it done. And Earl is eliminated here. And Earl, by the way, just became the first ever #1 seed to fail to make the final 6. That has never happened before, but it'll happen here as Mozilla is going to clinch a playoff spot after Earl, unable to get across the finish line either time, couldn't even stay on the wheels either time. And interesting there, you could see on that view, Mozilla kind of just bullied his way right through and right on past the 33. Disappointing end for Earl. As that will bring up Prime and Lemon Drizel. Another flip. Prime is going to come across and take a 1-0 lead. Lemon Drizel couldn't stay on his wheels. Face off again. Prime is flipping all over the place. Drizel goes by and just gets across the line to even us at 1 apiece. Wow, that was close. As Drizel only gets maybe half the car across the yellow line there where you need it. They'll go 1-on-1. They're both going to flip, and we're going to do it again. A lot of flipping here in this third round. 1-on-1, best out of 3, and we've had a lot of flips already. I mean, it looked like Lemon Drizel just took a hard right to try to flip the car over. Strange to see this continuing to happen. They're both going to stay this time, and Prime is going to come across first and advance to the final 6. Been a while for Prime, but they are finally back. In fact, it's been so long that this is the first time that Prime is in the final 6 since the first race of the season, which they won, which is the only reason they're in the playoffs. So maybe a sign of things to come and good things to come for Prime in the 8. As we get Oak versus Confetti. Oak will complete an incredible comeback and clinch a spot in the playoffs if they advance, but it's Confetti that's going to make a pass at the end and take a 1-0 lead. Wow, look at that. Just spins all over the place and just went right by. As Confetti able to get past the 48 there and take a 1-0 lead. They have an opportunity to get in a really good spot in the playoffs if they can get it done. Oak is off the course. Confetti's across the line and into the next round. Wow. An upset there as Confetti takes out Oak. It's the second straight final 6 for Confetti. Third time this year that Confetti has made the final 6. It's been the last 2 races and then the other race here at Mayhem Superspeedway. Obviously a good track for the 17. As Woodpecker will take on Steve. Steve is going to have to win an upset here to take out the 43 if they want to keep their hopes alive. They're going to get a good start. Steve takes a 1-0 lead. And had the lead the entire time. A pretty confident win, I would say, for the 89. One more can get you to the final 6 and keep hope alive. As Woodpecker has the advantage. Woodpecker, though, spins, and Steve is going to get it done. Come across the line and take the upset win over the 43. And this is Steve's first appearance in the Final Six since race 1. There are 2 Final Six members that haven't been there since the first race of the season, as Steve is trying to mount a late season comeback here, about as late as it can go, with the help of a mistake there from Woodpecker in the 43. Been a rough team effort here from Dave's Motors. They have struggled here. As Murakami and Bloodstorm will face off. They are teammates from Bladestar Motorsports. Off the course goes Bloodstorm. And Murakami going to take a 1-0 lead. Murakami is out of playoff contention if they don't advance here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Bloodstorm clinches a playoff spot if they advance. A lot on the line. I would assume if you're Bladestar Motorsports, you'd rather see Murakami here keep their hope alive, because Bloodstorm still has a good chance if they don't get it. Bloodstorm's going to come back here after Murakami flips, and we're going to go to a best of 3. This is the race of decision here. Murakami at the bottom of the standings, or right around the bottom for the majority of the year. They have come on strong, almost pulled off the upset last time out, finished second. They need to advance here, otherwise they are done. Bloodstorm takes the lead, but now Murakami makes the pass. Flipping upside down is the 86, and advancing is Murakami to keep their chances at a playoff spot alive. And a huge upset, a lot of upsets here. Mayhem Super Speedway living up to its name, causing problems for some of these contenders, and those who need to clinch not being able to. Sal and Jack Tato will face off now. One versus one, and off the course goes Jack Tato. Can Sal finish? It's a wild run, and not one that you would want to put in your resume for Sal, but it's going to count as a point nonetheless. That was a less than graceful run from the 2, but they're going to get the lead and take a 1-0 advantage over Jack Tato. Let's see if Jack Tato can come back. Sal's got the lead. Sal's going to flip. Off the course goes Jack Tato. Sal cannot finish. We'll re-rack and go again. An opportunity to clinch it there, but Sal was already upside down by the time that Jack Tato left the course. So really nothing you can do there except for try to hope that you can get enough momentum going down the hill there, but that just wasn't going to happen for the 2. We'll go one more time. Let's see what happens. Now Jack Tato's in the lead. Jack Tato's going to come across the line and even us up. And so we'll go to that decisive 3rd matchup. And coming across the line backwards, unable to get to the finish, was the 2. Now let's see what happens. Jack Tato trying to pull off an upset. It's not going to happen. Sal's going to come across easily as Jack Tato flipped, struggled there, and Sal advances. And now for the 3rd time in 4 races, Sal is in the Final 6, really coming on strong as the season gets deeper and deeper. And there we go. First to 3 win. We have Murakami and Confetti. They're both below the cut line coming in. Prime and Mozilla are locked in now. And then on the other side, you've got Sal and Steve, who really have never been to the Final 3, either of them. They're in uncharted territory almost. Murakami and Confetti. Somebody's going to really help their chances. It's going to be Murakami on the first one. We need to get to 3. And a win for Murakami would really throw a wrench in the plans of those bubble teams, as we will see at the end of this race where the standings come out to be. Oh, both of them fall off the course here. Looked like Murakami had the lead at the time. It wasn't much of a lead. Either car could have won that one, but instead they both just came off the course. So we'll do it again. Murakami has the lead, gets flipped upside down. Confetti ties us at 1. rephrase it, didn't get flipped, but rather flipped. It was not a dirty move by Confetti by any stretch. They made some contact, but that was well before the flip of the 4. Now let's see who takes that advantage, and it's going to be Murakami after the 17 flipped and couldn't stay on its hood, or stayed rather on its hood, couldn't stay on its wheels, and an easy one there for Murakami to just go right by. So a 2-1 lead, a chance for Murakami to move on to the final 3 for a second straight race. Instead, they're going to go off the course. Confetti is going to even us at 2 apiece. And it is now a winner-take-all matchup number 5 for a spot in the final 3. And an opportunity to get to within just 1 set win of the playoffs. And Murakami is just going to eke across the line. And the 4 of Murakami is into the final 3. And for the second straight time, Murakami makes it to the final 3. Finished in second in our last race, but looking for a first place and a very strong finish to the season. As Prime and Mozilla will face off. Remember, the losers of these matchups will face each other in a heat for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Make some contact. Mozilla's got the lead, and a smooth run for the 66 to take a 1-0 lead. Mozilla fresh off advancing themselves through the last round, and with that advancement clinching a playoff spot. So congratulations to them. Meanwhile, here is Prime really trying to show something at the end of this regular season, and Prime is going to even us at 1 apiece. One all between Prime and Mozilla. The drivers who have had strange paths this season. And Prime is going to take a 2-1 lead. Prime trying to get to the final 3 for the first time since their Week 1 win. And Prime is going to get it done, and with a pretty easy margin of victory there. Prime is in the final 3 for the first time since Week 1. Congratulations, as Prime tries to gain momentum and ride that wave into the playoff tournament. Try to take away a championship, as Sal and Steve will face off here. Who's going to be the final member of this final 3? Murakami and Prime are the first 2. Sal takes a 1-0 lead as Steve can't get across the line. Go again. Ooh, contact there. Steve trying to take advantage. He cannot. Sal up 2-0. Looked like a little bit of a nudge there from the 89, but Sal able to recover and Steve unable to capitalize. And so it's a 2-0 lead now. Steve's memorable run, improbable run, is going to come to an end here with a sweep at the hands of Sal. And the 2 is into the final 3. And that is the first ever final 3 appearance for Sal in that number 2 car. Never been in the final 3 until just now. And a chance to get their first win in the regular season finale. Here is a run for 4th, 5th, and 6th between the 10, 11, and 12 seeds from this race. Interesting enough that that's Steve, Confetti, and Mozilla. Let's see where they finish. It's Mozilla in the lead, then Confetti. Confetti's going to come back and take the win and place in 4th, as we'll have another look at it. Some speed gained at the end of that course there. And right there, a little bit of a bobble from the 66. So 4th place to Confetti. Mozilla takes 5th. Steve will be in 6th. And coming up, we have the final of the regular season. We'll be back after this. Okay, and before we get to the final and finish up this NASMARB regular season, we'd like to thank our sponsor, the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. As you know, they've been a partner from the beginning of this series, and we are so proud to have them on board. If you don't know, the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, or the MSWP, is a podcast about all your favorite marble sports. They cover everything from NASMARB here to JMR. If you'd like to check them out, go ahead and check the link in the channel is going to be in our description, so go ahead and check them out. Give them a listen. It's a great listen as always. But we are going to head back to the action, and we're going to crown a winner here for this regular season finale in just a moment. And now it comes down to the final three. It is Murakami, Prime, and Sal. It's the first to four. If Sal or Murakami are in, they clinch. But it's Prime taking a 1-0 lead. Prime, who's already in the playoffs despite being well below the cut line. That win in the season opening race has had them in at this point, trying to prove that wasn't necessarily a fluke. To open up that season here, the first year of NASMARB. Prime is in the lead again. Prime's going to take the lead and take the win. It's 2-0-0 for Prime. And neither have been particularly close. Prime showing some pretty significant dominance here through the first couple of heats. Let's see what happens now. It's Murakami in the lead. Prime's going to take a pass and take the lead and get within 1 of a second win. Wow, look at that. Trying to go for a sweep as Murakami had the chance but went sideways down the backstretch. Interesting thing to note here. Mayhem Superspeedway is known for crazy things happening. The last time we were here, Mozilla had a 3-0-0 lead and lost the last 7 heats. Oh, that was close, but Prime is going to lose that one. Murakami makes it 3-1-0, and you wonder, how many races does Prime have to lose before he starts thinking that that might be happening? Just a little more than a car length there, separating Murakami and Prime. Prime is now in the middle trying to get it done. Now it is Sal who's going to take the lead and take the win, and it's 3-1-1. Obviously, it would have to be a giant collapse, but we've seen it here before. We saw it, as I said, from the 66. Mozilla had that 3-0-0 lead and lost the next 7 heats. An unbelievable collapse. Prime trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. Prime's in the lead. Can Prime get it done? The answer, ooh, I don't think he did. I think Murakami got it. Let's find out. Boy, that was close. At the line, it is Murakami, I think. It is. Murakami gets it by, it looked like the wheel length from where the wheels are on the car. Unbelievable how close that was to keep Murakami and Sal in this thing. Prime trying to get it done this time. Not going to happen. Murakami wins and evens us 3-3-1 as Sal ends up off the course. Prime ends up upside down. Prime is in big trouble now. And Murakami a chance to lock themselves in, complete a huge season comeback. In the last couple of races, trying to get it done. Now let's see if Sal has anything for him, or do we get a winner here? It is Prime. No, it's Murakami at the last moment to win it. Unbelievable. At the last moment, being held up. As we watch it one more time, a mistake. And right there, holding up Sal is what cost the 8 of Prime. They'll come across the line second and finish second, but it's Murakami with a huge comeback, and it is a blown 3-0-0 lead. There's the scoring from this race. 40 points to Murakami. Prime, Sal, Confetti, Mozilla are the top 5. Steve, Jack Tato, Bloodstorm, Lemon Drizel, and Woodpecker, the top half of your leaderboard, going all the way down to the 2 that didn't qualify. That's Winks in the 13 and Electro in the 93, who did not qualify. And now we get our opportunity to have our final look at the standings. So here they are, the final standings from the regular season of NASMARB. Here are the top 6. These are the winners. So Streamer is your 1 seed, 3 wins and 209 points. Lemon Drizel will be the 2 seed. He won 1 race, garners 201 points. Woodpecker is the 3 seed, 1 win, 176 points. Our 4 seed is going to be Electro, who won 1, 148 points. They are your first 4, and they receive buys. 7 points separated Electro and Prime. So Prime does not get that bye. 141 points for them. They're the 5 seed. And the other race winner is going to be Murakami. There they are. 136 points. They're the 6 seed. Quite a comeback by Electro, Murakami, Woodpecker. They were all left for dead at points in the season. Maybe not left for dead for Electro, but certainly not thought that Electro would end up with a bye. Unbelievable, some of the jobs done by some of these teams. As we will now go from the bottom, Jeff Marbin, not a surprise, 75 points for Jeff Marbin will eliminate him from playoff contention. In the 24, he will finish last. And again, they will not race in this playoff tournament, so these standings are final. If you're not in, it's over. 19th place is going to be Neptune in the 11, way ahead in terms of points. He scored 115 to Jeff Marbin's 75, but that's 19th place for Neptune. 18th is Nugget, who bests Neptune by 5 points at a final standings of 120, but that's 18th place for the 16 car. You can give 17th to Steve in the 89 with 122 points. And the Malbao team will not be returning in its same form. We'll see Steve somewhere else next year. 17th place for him. Disappointing for the Wheelman. And then 16th is Spitzer with 122 points. The tiebreaker for those two, since they had the same amount of points, is going to be based off the best finish of the season. So that goes to Spitzer. That's why he'll get 16th. And Steve is going to garner 17th. We're going to go 7th through 10th now and give you those championship contenders. 163 points for Mozilla. He had the 4th most points. He's the 7 seed because he didn't have a win. So Mozilla in the 66 is the 7 seed. Into the playoffs, as we mentioned, clinching it earlier in this race. Your 8 seed. And in based off of points is Bloodstorm at 157 points, which would have been above Electro and Prime and Murakami as well. And so the 86, that's another team if you're keeping track of the Bladestar Motorsport group. That is now 2 in for them. Murakami with the win. Bloodstorm via points with 157. 9th place is Oak, also at a 157-point total. So again, that's going to be decided by your best finish is your tiebreaker. So Oak will be the 9 seed at 157 points after failing to make the first 2 races of the year. A great comeback story and a great story of perseverance from that 48 team. So congratulations to them as they make their way in. And then 10th place in your point standings as we get closer and closer to that cut line is going to be Winx in the 13. Yet another of the Bladestar Motorsports group, 155 points for Winx. So they are in as well based off of points as it gets you closer and closer to that cut line. And things get more and more interesting. By the way, all of that grouping, those 4, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all were ahead of Electro, Prime, and Murakami based off of points there. So they all got in on points, but they're lower seeded because of Electro, Prime, and Murakami's wins. 15th and eliminated from playoff contention is Jack Tato, 125 points for Jack Tato in a, frankly, not to be rude, but a forgettable season for the 12 team as Jack Tato will try to recover from what was a very disappointing and, like I said, forgettable first season of NASMARB. We will move on in our standings and lock in Sal at 154 points. Sal is your 11 seed and in. So congratulations to that 2 team as they are in the playoffs, 1 point below Winx from being a top 10 seed. So 11th is the seed for Sal at 154 points. And we are coming down to the end of it. Just 3 spots remain. 1 spot left in the playoffs. Earl is out. 137 points. And by not making the final 6, that cost them 137 points. Earl is going to be the only member of Red Pandas Racing not to make the playoffs. The other 2 both had wins and are the 2 and 3 seed, Le Monde Drizel and Woodpecker. So a disappointing finish for Earl as they will finish as your 14th place finisher in the standings. Out. Quillo and Confetti. They're the final two. We're going to reveal them at the same time for you and show you who's in and who's out. The 9 and the 17. Here we go. And it is Confetti in by 4 points over Quillo. And the 9 team, one of the fan favorites, eliminated here after a race with their name, their sponsor, being on the name of the race. Confetti with an unbelievable comeback as well, just like Oak. And again, we will give you that update. A disappointing end of the year for Quillo and Earl. They had opportunities to be in and could not get it done. As we said, a forgettable season for Jack Tato. Spitzer started off hot, had the pole to start the year, and the rest of that group, they are done. We will not see them again. So there are your 12 that are in, and they will have the playoff tournament, and we will determine a champion for the first time, the first champion of the NASMARB series, and an opportunity to see if we get maybe some upsets. Obviously, you know, you'd look at the bottom of those standings. You'd have to consider really anybody, I think, that is not Lemon Drizel, Woodpecker, and Streamer. I mean, if it's not any of those, obviously Streamer is going to be your odds-on favorite significantly. But if it's not Lemon Drizel or Woodpecker that knocks off Streamer, I think it's a surprise. I think you can watch out for Oak and Mozilla. Bloodstorm's got some speed in there. Obviously, you go all the way down, and these are all drivers that did what they needed to do and did enough to get in the playoffs, and so you don't want to drop any of them by any stretch. But certainly, all odds are going to be on Streamer. 3 wins. Nobody else had more than 1. In fact, there was an 8 race regular season, and he won 3 of them, so almost won half of the races this year. Obviously, your odds-on favorite is going to be Streamer, but anything can happen. As we show you week in and week out here in NASMARB, you never know what's going to happen, and so we hope that you stay tuned. We hope that you watch, as we will crown a champion for NASMARB. But until then, I'm Ricochet, and we thank you for watching MSPN.